Well, there is nothing like a Tuesday night in SFLm Nation, and we welcome you in to what's going to be a fun game today, no doubt, as we have two teams looking again to get another statement W, and it is the San Diego Aces coming into town to face the Philadelphia Cougars. And again, you're watching the SFLm on the Virtual Football Network. Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgan, and as always, great to be with you, my buddy. And you know, it's just a staple right here in SFLm land. We're going to call a game or two together during the season, and I think we've got a good one today.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you, and thanks for the warm welcome as always, my friend. We've got two teams here that had some tough luck last week, I guess you could say. San Diego had a really rough go of it in that first game, and Philly wasn't able to pull out a win either. I'm expecting both of these offenses to try and implement the run game a little bit better than they were able to last week, and if they do, able to control the tempo of the clock, I think whichever team does it better, the game will tend to lean in their favor a little bit.
We are going to find out, and folks, we thank each and every one of you for tuning in and spending your Tuesday night with us. Kickoff is underway. Philadelphia to return it, and this is a good returnable kick down to the 23-yard line, where we will set up shop and say hello to this Philadelphia starting lineup, led by quarterback Mike Skamizniak in his second season here in Philly. The halfbacks Jesse Fretz and Smithers Witherson the fourth. The wide receivers Queen Jackson, Victor Rojas, and McBrownski, and Dallas Sanders. The tight end is Tony Zoma. The tackle Al Friedman. At guard, it's Duke LaRue. As we see motion from McBrownski already in this game early on. First down. Skamizniak to throw. It's tipped and incomplete. Good coverage down the pipe there from number 59. Not 58, excuse me, Nick Rogers there for San Diego.
Yeah, Skamizniak had 3 interceptions last week in their loss. And again, that one looked a little dangerous. Maybe you want to cut down on the high-risk throws. As already that first play going back to that well, like to cut that out maybe a little bit.
Yeah, don't need to gamble so soon on a very risky pass. We'll see if they settle in here on second down. Again, Skamizniak to throw. Pressure coming behind him. And again, you see the defender right there aiming to take that ball away. That's number 25, Ness Jenkel, as we'll go over this defense quickly for San Diego. The defensive end is Odette Boudreau. The defensive tackle, Pat Redding. The linebacker, Seth Berlin and Kuwaltson Yulia. The cornerbacks, Andre Brown and Ness Jenkel. The free safety, Eaton Moss and Dondes Talacarne. Big 3rd and 10 early in this one. And again, going to throw for a third straight down. Skamizniak throwing into traffic, but he connects this time and doing a fine job of it. And it's Victor Rojas, who we know what type of caliber player he is and what he brings to a team, and he's down after that reception.
Yeah, that's a super tough loss for Philadelphia, and this one was their lead receiver as far as catches go last week in their loss to Anchorage, and as well as last season he had over 1,200 yards. Cam, he's a sensational target, as you saw, that catch and double coverage, but they're going to have to try and run their apparently high passing offense without their lead receiver going forward.
16 seconds into the game, and Victor Rojas is out fearfully for a long duration here of the game. Well, he could get back in. We'll see if we get updates as Fretz takes his first carry of the game on the first rush of the night and a gain of 3.
Yeah, it looked like that was the strong safety, Dondes Talacarne, coming up from deep in the box there, able to shoot the gap early enough to where Fresh really didn't have much room to run. And these safeties over in San Diego are great in that run department.
Yeah, indeed they are, as we see Thomas Jones getting a carry, coming off the bench there and getting active in the lineup today. Brings up a 3rd and 5 situation.
Seth Berlin, the Albuquerque development linebacker, in there on the tackle. And we've seen a lot of, last week some Albuquerque's linebackers were getting involved. They grow them good there, Cam.
Yeah, they do, indeed. Man in motion. That's McBrownski to the bottom of the screen there as he lines up alongside. And the throw too high, but we're going to have a flag here now. The question is, we expect interference. What side? They call defense.
I'd like to see another look at this one, Cam. I don't know about you, because at least for me, here we go. Here's going to be that other look. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looked a little high, but now that you look at it, maybe it looked like he had to draw his hands back due to the contact.
Yeah, indeed. So, yeah, that is going to, again, extend this drive. So, Philadelphia, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. You know, they had the one good pass completion. Now they are, aided with the penalty. Gets them a fresh set of downs out to the 40-yard line. And Skomizniak to throw. Pressure in the defender's vicinity there, trying to make the catch. And it's incomplete.
Yeah, a ton of time there for Skomizniak to throw, and just great job by the defensive backs locking up every route possible. You know, when you have that much time to throw in the pocket, it's hard for your defensive backs to stay in coverage for that long, especially, in that type of zone when the receivers can find areas of the field that are weak.
Skomizniak throwing this time. Nick Brownski up and overcoming the ladder to bring this one in. And that's a huge play, as again, we talked about getting comfortable. Mike Skomizniak wanting to improve on his outing last week, and this is a good way to start right here.
Yeah, and that was cool seeing Leah, who was in that zone, and they tried to get back, in their zone as far as they could to try and catch up with the receiver, but at that point, Skomizniak had already read the play and noticed, the zone was just a little bit too far out. And, with an experienced quarterback, it's going to be hard to be able to stop that as a defense.
Queen Jackson, the wide receiver. Oh, my goodness, and it's going to be a pick six unless he can get dragged down from behind. Dallas Sanders trying to catch him, but rumbling and bumbling to the end zone. A pick six, stealing it out of the night air, is Seth Berlin, the linebacker for San Diego, and the Aces go out on top first.
Wow, Seth Berlin. I mean, we talked about growing him good in Albuquerque, Cam. He runs the route like it was designed for him. Read the QB's eyes all the way. I mean, that was just picture perfect. You could frame that on the wall.
My goodness. I mean, I don't know if I've seen a route intercepted maybe more beautifully in SFL lore, I should say, at least my time around here. I mean, that was a thing, like you said, a thing of art, and something to be immensely proud of. Seth Berlin and having the speed to rumble all the way down for the pick six. Now it's Josh Gint with the extra point, and just when you thought Philadelphia was going to be able to march down the field and put some points on the board, it's San Diego with a 7-0 lead without being on the field for the offensive series.
Yeah, Cam, you mentioned it. Looking speedy out there. That big old linebacker looked like a corner out there with how he read the QB's eyes. Played perfect coverage, and he completely outran the receiver. But it would have been tough to catch from how far he was behind. But my gosh, if you're Philly, it seems like you want to pass the rock a lot on offense. Just from that short stint of the drive we saw. If you're going to continue that game plan, you got to try and wipe that clean off Mike's shoulders and try and get some momentum going in the pass game against this defense.
You mentioned Skomizniak's woes from last week. He had 3 interceptions relating to a 49.2 quarterback rating. And again, one already here in this game very early on. As we said, we're not even a full 3 minutes into this game. But a good carry this time. Jesse Fritz, we saw Jesse, very prominent last season here in Philadelphia, and that's what they want to do again this year is continue to get him involved.
Yeah, he certainly was involved quite a bit last season, Cam. He had joined in a decent bit late into the season, had right at around 200 yards, and was playing behind Rashawn Williams, who I believe now is over in San Jose.
Yes, we got to see him last week. Yep. And so, with Fritz, this kind of becomes his show. We will see Smithers Witherson the fourth, indeed, but with Fresh, you're going to see a lot of touches for that young man.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially with how he's running the rock right now. 2 pretty good carries. I believe it was combined for 10 yards on his 2 rushes. And, at least for me, Cam, I'd like to see them try and continue to run the rock a little bit more with how well it's looked so far.
I would agree. Skomizniak now screen pass out of the backfield to Jesse Fritz, and simply nowhere to go. San Diego smothers Jesse Fritz on the coverage and is able to bring him down. So that's Nick Rogers with credit for the tackle.
Yeah, and that was Seth Berlin, who was also involved on the play and coverage. So he's just all over the place, it seems, and he's got a job this week of covering the flats, and he's taken it to heart. He is all over them so far.
Dallas Sanders, the tight end, or excuse me, the wide receiver going in motion. Pressure coming. Stamizniak throws quickly. The defender falls, and it's McBrownski with room to run. And again, like we said, so far with Philadelphia, they've been able to take advantage of the situations that the defense has given them. We've seen pass interferences, and right here, it's a slip up, trying to go for the ball, and they get positive yards out of it.
Yeah, you know, it's not like the out route really caught the defender off guard. You know, the defender was right there in coverage, like you said, just tried to make a play on the ball, got a little bit too aggressive, and it really bit him in the rear because McBrownski had so much grass to run through after that.
The screen pass again out to the flat. That is Dallas Sanders, the wideout. He was the intended man on that pick six that Seth Berlin took back to the house. So they go back to the well there. You can see they want to target the flats today. So we may see this quite a bit from this Philadelphia squad.
Yeah, as long as they, you know, I mean, like you said, you just got to make sure it's a safe throw, right? You can't force it because if they want to go back to that well, they'll learn it quick, this defense.
Well, Fritz attacks the hole hard. I think they're going to say forward progress will be enough to get Fritz the first down.
Seemed like maybe a generous call on the original spot, but might have got spun around, and like you said, that forward progress may have pushed him just over the line.
Well, we learned in the SFL game that we called on Sunday that line, it is a virtual line. It is not the spot.
That's
We've
true.
seen that on a very important call last week. So there, you know, eye level totally different from what we see up here. As Skamizniak to throw, plenty of time. Oh my goodness, and almost intercepted once more. A scary kind of deja vu there as number 20, Dondace Talacarney, had his hands all over it.
Yeah, he was a force in the pass game last season, Cam. Had 7 pass breakups and an interception to his name. That's not one of the guys you want to throw to on the San Diego defense. He's a captain over there, and he has solidified himself.
Absolutely. Skamizniak rolling out just a little bit. Again, back to the flat, and again, no gain. Just, what can you say? Great coverage over there on the edge. Nobody able to advance, and that brings up 3rd and 8.
It seems like, you know, Philly is kind of struggling against targeting the man-to-man. The corners of San Diego are really winning that battle, and that's when we're seeing these shallow routes get bottled up so quick.
But then, just as we mentioned the struggles on the flat, you see Skamizniak throw a dime to McBrownski, again using that height advantage, going up and over the defenders and getting the first down.
And you see some pressure coming around the right edge, and it's just the cornerback trying to trail down the receiver. If you get 1 or 2 steps on him, that's really all you need to get enough separation for a QB to be able to target that in. You had the safety over the top who just wasn't quick enough to get down and make a play on the ball.
Oh, pressure coming around the edge. He's able to shake 1, but not 2. And coming in, like, as I like to say, a heat-seeking missile around the edge. That's big number 94, Chuck Wiley, the defensive end for San Diego.
And I am shocked Mike Skamizniak was able to shoulder off that first hit from Kowalski Leah. My goodness, they came in, like you said, like a missile and just completely bottled him up in the side. And I thought that was going to be all she wrote, but Mike stood up and still got sacked, but my gosh.
Yeah, look at this. What a rebound. Throws a dart to the end zone, and waiting there on the other side of it is the halfback, Jesse Fritz. So he doesn't get the touchdown with his legs. Instead, he uses his arms, and he pulls that one in for 6.
Yeah, they had him marked as the inside receiver on that one. And again, what they've been able to do is target the zones of San Diego right now. That's really when Philly's passing game has looked at its best. You saw a zone in the middle of the field by one of the linebackers. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Seth Berlin who was on that coverage. You put a shallow route through his zone to draw his attention, pull him a little bit forward, and what that opens up is that cross over the middle of the field, and that's what we just saw there to Jesse Fritz.
Wow, what a play. What a rebound by Philadelphia. Able to move the football. The extra point is good by Sophia Peaches. And we are all tied up with 3:27 remaining in the first quarter. Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgannon, as well as JW Hartshorn and Ellie Diomez in the stats truck. And we appreciate them hanging out with us tonight. And, of course, Alex West back at SFLm HQ. A good return here out to the 36-yard line for San Diego, where they'll set up shop. But here's the thing, DJ. Let's think about this. We're 3 minutes and some change remaining in the first quarter. We have yet to introduce the San Diego offense.
Yeah, they haven't even got to smell the field. They've been resting comfortably on the sideline. Hopefully their warm-ups haven't gone astray and they've cooled down. That goes the same way for Philly's defense. Haven't seen them either. Both of these teams fresh off watching their other sides play for 7 minutes now.
Well, Dakota West didn't expect to come into this game in the second quarter. I say that a little bit sarcastically, but not much more to go. First handoff goes to Caleb Rex, who gets one on the play. 2nd and 9 coming up. We'll mention the starting lineup in just a moment, DJ. Again, quick to the line here after a 1-yard gain. West coming over from Boston, DJ's favorite place to call a ball game. 2nd and 9, a rollout here with West throwing back across the hole. And almost intercepted about 3 times, if you want my honest opinion, as Jack Golden was all over it, but it falls incomplete.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous play in coverage, getting up there with one hand to be able to bat that one down. But forcing the 3rd and long now for these aces, not looking the hottest out of the gate.
No, a little bit cold. You got to wonder if the extra time on the bench maybe hurt them. West, the lefty throwing. There you go. There's the strike. That's going to warm things up, sprinting down the sidelines. And past the 30 is Nick Fritchley for the first down.
Yeah, and that one was just such an explosive play, and we had talked about cooling things off. That's a way to turn on the afterburners and heat things up a little bit. He completely separated himself and just burned past his cornerback and had a lot of room to run before he's forced towards that sideline.
Fresh set of downs. West throwing out of the backfield as well. Nice screen play, and still on his feet is Richard Powers.
Yeah, it looked like that was Nick Fargo with the cleanup tackle off to the pass to the flats. Looks like we're going to be seeing a lot of that. We had the linebacker come in early, try and make a hit shortly after the catch, but the running back looking a little shifty out there, able to spin that one off.
As we said, we will take a look at the starting lineup in just a moment. The action quick right now. San Diego not taking too much time in the huddle. Now toss play to the right side to Rex, who gets a gain of 5. And let's say hello to this lineup. Dakota West at quarterback, the 2 halfbacks, Caleb Rex and Richard Powers. The wide receivers, Angel Maldonado, Hunter Jacobs, Terry Money, and Nick Fritchley. The tight end, Goosebusters. The 2 tackles, Quinn Porter and Jackson Barrito. And at guard, Bruce White on a 2nd and 5 play with 1:31 left in this opening quarter. Again, this is the opening drive for San Diego. They've marched their way into the red zone. Again, good holes up front, good blocking. Richard Powers able to get close to the first down sticks, brings up 3rd and 2.
And that was Golden blowing that one up again just before the yard to gain. Now, I feel like if you're San Diego, at least to me, you got to try and go with another run to convert this, or maybe an extension of the run game, a throw to the flat, something like that. Keep it short.
3rd and 2, and you called it, DJ. They do stick with the run, but they're going to say that he is marked just short. J.C. Wallace Jr., the outside linebacker, number 52, coming in with the stop, and that will bring on the field goal unit and an opportunity to give the lead back to San Diego from number 3, Josh Gint.
Yeah, that was a really nice tackle, a really nice angled tackle right before the first down marker, saving them what would have likely been 4 extra points to stop that drive. And, if you're Philadelphia, after that drive, the defense and offense, first time seeing them from Philly and San Diego, I feel like that's got to feel like a win for Philly. You know, of course, you allowed the 3 points, but you made a goal line stop. The really big play came off of an explosive play that, you know, took up the majority of the field for 34 yards, and that was their only completed pass to a receiver.
Oh, and a fumble. And thankfully for Philadelphia, Nemo able to jump on the football. Let's see what happened there. I didn't mean to cut you off, DJ.
No. By all means.
Thomas Jones on the run back who gets hit hard. And like we said, maybe luck on Philadelphia's side today. Speaking of those, gambling references there with the Aces. But right now, Philadelphia having a good series of events, go their way with the fumble recovery. And it's 1st and 10 on the 25. Now we see a man going in motion, and that's McBrownski, who's been very popular thus far in this game. The handoff, though, to Fritz, who was a little stutter step there and bulldozes forward for the first down. You could not ask for a better run on first down than that.
Yes, certainly not, especially against a 4-3 defense. It looked like San Diego was ready for the run, but Fretz does not care. Barrels through one of the defenders in the San Diego white and purple and just churns his way forward for a gain of a first down on their first play. And if you ask me, Cam, of course I'm no coach, but you got to try and stick with this run game a little bit more. We talked about it early on.
I would agree. About at that point, they actually decided to throw it to the middle of the field. That's number 88, Dallas Sanders, with the reception. But I'm kind of like you. The ground game is going so well with Jesse Fretz. Probably, if I had to guess, DJ, the coaches probably said, you know what? Do not fret. We're going to get this first down. See what I did there? All right, we're going to the end of quarter number 1, folks, and we're having a fun time with you. It's a San Diego leading Philadelphia 10-7 on the Virtual Football Network. I'm Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgannon, and I will try my best to keep from being too punny tonight, but, I can't promise anything. I'll have to ask you to keep me in line there, DJ.
I will try my best, but I may join in on the fun.
Well, we haven't got any of the music puns out this season thus far.
That's true.
Last year we played some stump the listeners there with some of our trivia. Look at Jesse Fretz again, just a spin move across the midfield for another first down. And I am like you, seriously, I'm a big fan of this running attack that Philadelphia's got going so far.
Yeah, charged by as you coined, the Fretz Prince of Philadelphia, number 22, charging it out. Right at about 5.2 yards per carry right now. He is looking solid as a rock so far.
And this time, good job. Just great penetration up front by that San Diego defense coming in, swarming. That is number 54, Seth Berlin once again. Wow, that guy's all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Already has 5 tackles, a TFL, and, of course, the pick 6 previously.
Well, when some games, you just come out and you just feel red hot, and that's one of those situations for Seth Berlin today. Philadelphia's going to have to figure out how to cool him off. Throwing now, that's one way to do it. A great throw and a great reception along the edge there with Queen Jackson near the sidelines, able to stay in for a couple more yards and another first down.
Yeah, connecting with the OKC receiver who's been playing phenomenally up there in the SFL in that nice corner route, separating the zones on that left-hand side, and that's something we've mentioned a few times now. Philadelphia is successful passing the ball when attacking the zones of San Diego. San Diego's man coverage seems to really be the stalwart of their defense.
First down, first set of downs for Scamizzi's now. It happens again. Another interception out there in the flat. This one a little more dramatic, not so certain as it was bobbled and, as I like to say, played hot potato with just a little bit by Andre Brown. But he's able to secure it, and this drive once again ends.
Yeah, the former Season 10 Defensive Rookie of the Season, Andre Brown, carrying his momentum into this season. Had a pretty quiet week as far as stopping the pass goes, but did have 2 TFLs in the ground game. But they are certainly making his mark, taking that one back the other way. Now San Diego is going to have an opportunity to push things back towards the other side of the field.
So here we go, 1st and 10. San Diego with an opportunity to go back down the field and pad their lead. We'll see what Dakota West and company can do. Pressure is coming, but standing in there, there's a flag on the play for the moment. It is a completion. I believe that was Angel Maldonado with the catch.
Oh, wow. Interference.
Yep, they'll get interference on Philadelphia for number 47. That's Kefsey Jr.
Well, no look at that one, but it was caught. So must have been some sort of contact that wasn't too apparent to everyone but the official.
Yeah, could have impeded the route or something like that.
Yep.
Nevertheless, it works to their advantage. West now throwing wide open along the sideline. That's going to be a 9-yard gain quickly. Another good job by West spreading the football around. Maldonado once again with the reception.
Yeah, and just a really nice flat route. You avert the defender's eyes, especially towards the other side and middle of the field. Almost seemed like a designed flat route to Angel there, who just had so much room to make that catch on the sideline.
You know, Dakota West last season did such a good job over there in Boston as the QB. As that run is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. But 160 of 272 on the season last year, and one of the things that West is so good at doing is spreading the rock, and everybody gets a little bit of love.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw it last season in Boston. They had so many high-value targets that were getting receptions and, a lot of yards over there.
Rolling out, that's a nice play design, and that allows for a good reception by Fritchley once more. Gets the 1st and 10, and closing in on red zone territory now is San Diego.
Yeah, really nice in route. Looks like they got one of their generics playing in there at linebacker 58, and he gets attacked by Dakota West on that pass. Throws it right over his head. Just not good enough coverage there from him.
Something else we haven't seen much of out of Dakota yet is the footwork, which is something that we've seen, them take quite a few runs, out of the pocket there to get first downs last season. Oh, quick drop and release right there. That is complete for 2. And a 1st down. Jeremy Allen, the fullback, in on that play.
Yeah, and that looked like J.C. Wallace on the tackle after the short completion. And that was kind of an odd play. We don't see that often from Dakota West, just force passes that quickly. But, I mean, if it's going to convert into catches, maybe like to see a little bit more yards from him.
2nd and 8 now on the toss, and it is read well by the defense as that just barely gets back to the line of scrimmage, and a 3rd and 8 situation now.
Yeah, that one was just completely blown up from the linebacker on that side.
Now a bunch formation to the bottom of the screen, just outside the red zone here. It's 3rd and 8 as we now see motion. That is the tight end Goosebusters going up to the top of the screen. What will West do? It's going to be a throw. Pressure is coming, but stands in there. Throws to the end zone. It's a touchdown. It's Fritchley. They couldn't hold on to him, and it is 6 points for San Diego as they pad their lead.
All around, just such a nice play for the Aces, giving Dakota West just so much time to throw the football. You have the little fade route by Fritchley, runs up and just kind of angles towards that back right corner. That takes some finesse from a QB to be able to throw that over the top of a defender playing tight coverage, but Dakota West did it.
That was just the perfect touch on that pass, too.
Yep, it was.
It really was a great job by West as Gint tacks on the extra point. And for Sammy Seatbelt III, who was in coverage there, just matched up with the big man Fritchley, not able to hold on. And it is now a 10-point lead suddenly for San Diego.
Yeah, just a really, really nice drive for them. It seemed like your passing game was really getting a nice head of steam going. You want to be able to keep that going.
And for Philadelphia right now, beating themselves, we talked about that. The turnovers is what's got them behind. That has, that's 14 points that's contributed to now because they've got points off turnovers for both of those interceptions. So got to protect the football. We'll see what they can do. Plenty of time, though. 5:51 remaining in this first half. Sanders going in motion. Skamizniak under center, one man in the backfield. Play clock down to 5, taking their time here. And throw. Tipped. And I'll tell you what, this is a ball-hungry group right here. I mean, everything is getting swatted at, deflected, picked off. These guys came to play on the San Diego defense.
Yeah, Ness Genkel was able to get their hand on that one, and if that had a little bit more loft to it, might have been able to connect with Queen Jackson over the top, and she's an explosive receiver, would have been able to take that one the other way.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't know if there had been anybody who could have stopped her either. Not many. Oh, look at Skamizniak. Oh! And there's McBrownski. A brilliant play, stepping up to make the throw, and it's a foot race to the 10-5 touchdown. We've got ourselves quite the ball game here today, folks. Touchdown, McBrownski and the Cougars.
Got to give props to Skamizniak there. Held his own in the pocket, connected on a risky throw to that left-hand side on someone. Yeah, you see the separation there on the left, but that was almost taken the other way. Eating moss. Only thing he was eating on that play was dust. McBrownski separates himself, gone for the touchdown.
That was incredible, and I would love to have got another view of Skamizniak for the things that we've said in this game that he's had time struggling with. That was not one of them. Stepping up after the pressure got to his backside and just throwing a dart. And McBrownski able to do the rest. The extra point by Peaches is good. And the Philadelphia faithful happy here to see their team draw within 3.
Yeah, we talked about how he needs to avoid those risky throws. He certainly shoved that in our faces and took one of those to the house.
We have a tendency for getting things shoved in our faces after we say something about them there, DJ. So, I don't know. It's like they must hear us talking up here or something, and they go out and they just show us up. But
man, I'll give you that one.
What can we say, right? It's do as I say, not as I do, right?
Absolutely.
First and 10 on the 37-yard line for San Diego. And it's West to throw. Stepping out of bounds after a gain of 4. All right, 5:28 remaining in this first half.
So curious to see, San Diego, if they're just going to continue, because see it there, 8 of 9, 112 with a touchdown. Played dang near perfect football so far in this one.
A handoff here by Rex, who has started out really coming out of the gate with quite a few touches there, but has grown silent as this second quarter has wore on.
I don't entirely blame them with how well their passing game's looking right now, really.
Now West rolling out, throwing one-handed just a little bit too high, and that's going to force the punting unit there. Busters was the intended target. And, that's a good sign right there for Philadelphia. I think they got West just rattled enough to where that football sailed a little bit.
Yeah, that was certainly the most off-target throw we've seen from West tonight. But on that same rhetoric, Cam, like you mentioned, that's the most pressure we've seen as well. So that certainly could have been the cause of that one.
A nice punt here, and it's called for the fair catch at the 18-yard line. So, Philadelphia now with a chance. What a topsy-turvy game we've had. It was 17-7 just a few minutes ago. Now it's 17-14, and it feels like the momentum, the pendulum has kind of swung back in Philadelphia's favor.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, and with that stop there, they've got an opportunity to go down the field and keep moving forward with what they've been able to develop as we see the play clock moving down to 5 with motion. Again, that's Tony Zoma, the tight end, who lines up to the left side of Skamizniak and wide open. It's Sanders, another foot race. Are they going to be able to get him? He veers left, cuts back right, and it's a touchdown. 2 straight plays from Skamizniak and this Philadelphia team where they have exposed this San Diego secondary.
I mean, what a turn of events, Cam. We had gone from talking about how you need to stop it with these risky throws, run the ball a little bit more, and Mike Skamizniak has just slapped us silly. And again, targets the middle of the field, And from that point, it's just your receivers doing what they do, and they're running to the house. Sanders, no one even close on the catch, and the defensive back's just not quite. I mean, it's almost impossible to catch him at that point.
You know something, DJ? Honestly, that had to feel good for Dallas Sanders, who was the unfortunate recipient of being the wide receiver in the vicinity of that first pick six to Seth Berlin, able to then come back and take it to the house for a touchdown. That puts Philadelphia back in the lead after an 11-second drive, 21-17. We've still got half of this second quarter remaining.
Yeah, and Cam, you did mention how the pendulum felt slightly to Philly's favor, you know, but it also, it kind of felt like it was right at the top, almost 50-50 and maybe slightly leaning Philly's side. And one thing I was going to say before that play was it felt like one bad play for Philly could push it back the other way to San Diego's side. What I didn't think was going to happen was a huge play from Philadelphia to push it way to their side.
No, this game has had a little bit of everything up to this point. And you know what? If you're just tuning in, we've got a lot of catching up to do for you here. Cameron Duty with DJ Kilgannon, JW Hartshorn, and Ellie Diomez on stats this evening. Of course, Alex West back at SFLm headquarters. Hey, this is the first of 3 games today. Again, this is a fun night of action here. We're getting things started off right. And there's a good reception, close to the first down fix for West and company here at San Diego.
It looked like that was Terry Money, all money on that catch on the sideline, able to keep his feet in bounds. That was, seemed like a risky throw, but for West, threaded that needle so tightly that not even another defensive back could really even make a play on the ball.
We did mention that we have 2 other games coming up after this, and we will take a look at those as time goes on because we want to make you aware of those as Rex gets the first down.
Yeah, and a short downage scenario, just easily punch that one forward with your back. We haven't seen a lot of runs at all. It's going to be the 7th that time for San Diego, but they're going to use it when they have to.
3:45 remaining in this half as West to throw towards the sidelines. We've seen them use that quite a bit as Maldonado gets the reception and a gain of 4. So, talking about those games we mentioned, we're in the first of 3 games. The next game coming up is going to be at 10 p.m. tonight. It's Mark Lopez and John Campbell on the call as Birmingham goes into San Jose. And at midnight, that's right, we're going to welcome in Wednesday night, or Wednesday morning, I should say, with a bang, as it is Brandon Walters and Jesse Fretz on the call. It's Anchorage going up to New York. So, listen, some late night football in the Big Apple tonight.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love it. And certainly a way to spice up your Wednesday morning, Tuesday night for all those night owls out there in the SFL.
Yeah, do not go anywhere. Don't touch that dial, as we used to say in television back in the day. But, yeah, just keep this stream going. You're going to want to stay right here on the Virtual Football Network as that pass incomplete on 3rd down. It's Seatbelt who gets a little bit of retribution that time, jarring the ball loose. And it's 4th and 3 for the Aces.
Yeah, and that was, you know, certainly retribution because it was Sammy Seatbelt hitting that away from Fritchley, who was able to connect on that touchdown you had talked about previously on that beautifully thrown ball from Dakota West. And yeah, like definitely got to feel fired up after that one.
A low snap there, but able to reel it in. And a good punt. Look, talking coffin kick here just about. We'll see where they spot that one. And that was Murphy, the man with the iron leg, able to pin them deep here on the 7-yard line. Well, this is dangerous, you know, for Philadelphia here. I mean, they've had some great plays, but, you know, we've also seen a couple turnovers. Have to be very careful on this side of the field, backed up at their goal line. And they give it to Fritz, which I think is the smart decision. Gets it out past the 10 and a gain of 4.
You know, I wouldn't feel too worried just because if you look back at the previous drive, they did score from the 18. They're getting to about that range. Anything could happen with this very explosive offense, and I think that's something with Mike Skamizniak you got to look at. And with these risky throws, it's like it's an instance of getting even or even better because you're going to maybe get some yardage downfield or you're going to blow one off for a huge 82-yard gain like we saw earlier.
That pass was low and at the receiver's shoes there, and it's jarred incomplete. So now a quick 3rd and 6 situation coming up on the other side of the 2-minute warning here. They don't take long in the huddle there, do they?
Not at all.
They know what they wanted to do. That's right. Motion. And we'll see. And they're going to throw. Good coverage, launching deep up in the air and falls incomplete. So just a good job of the defense that time, able to thwart the efforts of Philadelphia. Kowalski Yolia is going to get credit there with the deflection and the incompletion.
Now, even though they weren't able to convert it, I do want to give Philadelphia a little bit of credit on that play, right? Because they called a motion, right? And in doing so, you draw the defensive backs across the field, basically telling you that the play is going to be man coverage. The problem for Philadelphia, though, is that San Diego's man coverage has been lights out. I think they were almost hoping that it was zone coverage there so they could attack the weaknesses in the zones, but no luck.
Good analysis, my friend, as we are at the 2-minute warning. You're watching SFLm action on the Virtual Football Network. I'm actually beginning to think the word action isn't strong enough for the type of football that we have seen today. It's been electric, let's put it that way. Oh, and look at that truck stick by the halfback Rex. I have a feeling that when the defender hit the ground there, it registered on the seismograph.
Definitely wouldn't question it. My goodness, what a hit. Caleb Rex laying the wood on that one.
Good Lord. Okay. So, to throw. It is complete at the 15-yard line. 1st and 10 now, Fritchie. And now you look at the Aces here, getting a really good opportunity to maybe put some points on the board. Yeah.
You know, these passing games for San Diego and Philadelphia seem like polar opposites almost, Cam, because Dakota West and San Diego seem so calculated, so precise, you know, shorter passes, finding what's open, while Philadelphia is like, shunk it downfield. If they catch it, so be it. Whatever, shunk it. And, you know, it's really a display of two completely polar opposite mindsets. And I think it shows that either way can work. It's just what you do in between those plays.
Yeah. I tell you what else thinks it shows. I think it shows just the willingness to try to get their first victory right here. You know, I mean, both these teams playing so hard. Look at that. I mean, you know, like you said, chucking it downfield, just seeing what happens. That time, good coverage, one-on-one on the edge. And we are just about, I mean, we've got a score right now, DJ, that's reflective of a final score in some football games. We haven't even made it to halftime yet.
Yeah, super explosive right now. Dakota West right at around 77% completion up to this point. Just looking electric right now to San Diego. I'd like to see them, their running game, just get a little bit more momentum. Both backs averaging right at or below 3 yards per carry. Maybe get that up a little bit.
West now throwing just off target, maybe even a little bit early there, as that pass does fall incomplete harmlessly to the ground. Jim Kleinsaucer was the man that was intended for that one.
And these are the situations where I feel like you got to try and get that run game involved, because now they're at about the 4-yard line, and it almost feels to me like they have to pass just because of how lacking their run game has been.
2nd and goal. It's shotgun formation for Dakota West, which we haven't seen much of in this game. Takes the snap. Pressure coming. Stands in there. Delivers a strike. It's deflected, bobbled in the end zone, and incomplete. And that's Fargo saying, no way, Jose, as we now have a difficult 3rd and goal situation coming up here for the Aces.
It looked like Fargo was shooting at one of the gaps and just saw the ball go over his head and tried to double back and jump, make a diving play for it. Still tipped it, but now San Diego has another shot.
West again, touchdown, this time on a little out route along the goal line, and they're able to make it stick with Goosebusters. Who you going to call when you need a touchdown pass?
Mr. Goose. And what a great out route it was. Seemed like the defender got kind of tripped up. They had 2 receivers on that side of the field. One ran a deeper kind of up and cut route towards the back of the end zone, and the other, of course, Goose being that 2-step out. And it was all about choosing who you want to guard there. Dakota West being capable enough to dictate and see where the cornerback plays before they throw the ball.
I got to tell you something, DJ. I think that was just about the best play call you could come up with in that situation. Not only that, he was able to secure the fact that if that pass is incomplete, well, there's nobody there to really take that ball away. It's perfectly guarded to the inside of the wide receiver. And, you know, in the end, it worked out perfect. San Diego goes back in front with 49 seconds remaining in this first half.
And it felt like Philly almost knew that San Diego wasn't going to run. They've been stopping it so well. They stopped them on the goal line previously with them trying to run. San Diego clearly shading away from it, and it worked in their favor that time.
And now, with 49 seconds remaining, we will see just how aggressive Philadelphia does decide to be here. Play clock down to 5. Skamizniak under center with receivers lined up to the left side of him. He does throw into coverage, but it is complete, able to get McBrownski on a short route there. They actually say he gets 8, 2nd and 2.
And talk about those aggressive throws. It felt like there was more defenders over there than receivers, but Skamizniak threaded the needle so well to find his target. And Cam, Mike's already 14 yards away from the 300 mark in this one.
Absolutely incredible. There has been so much action. Like I said, we have stats and scores tonight that you would have thought this could have been a final score, that this game is over. Oh, folks, we still got 10 seconds remaining in this first half.
Yeah, don't go anywhere.
Will they get one more play off? Play clock down to 1. They do. They snap it quickly. Skamizniak throwing. It is complete. One-on-one coverage out there in the flat. Jackson able to come up with it, but she stopped immediately. And all of a sudden, it's halftime in a game that we said has seen everything. I hope you've got your popcorn, folks. This second half is going to be bombastic as well. San Diego leading Philadelphia 24-21 as we welcome you inside for the SFLm halftime report. Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgannon. So, DJ, give me your thoughts if we have enough time to unpack everything. And what do you think needs to change going into the third quarter?
Well, you know, I think one thing that needs to be fixed from both squads is I think their run games need to produce a little bit more. We've seen Jesse Fretz have somewhat success, just under 5 yards per carry, but we've also seen his other back in the backfield not get any touches at all, maybe get him involved a little bit more. Along with that, the other side, the San Diego backs just really haven't got anything going. 11 attempts for only 23 yards. The pass games right now, Cam, looking sensational.
Absolutely. And, you know, you talk about the passing game, Dakota West, 12 of 17 for 154 yards. But then on the other side of things, hey, you know, you got Skamizniak over 300 yards in this game. So, you know, it's been an amazing game. As we're going to take a minute here, folks, and see if we can get an injury update on Victor Rojas. You know, he went out early. Something we really haven't even had a chance to talk about, DJ, is the fact that Victor Rojas went out within the first 15 seconds of this game for Philadelphia, but they have somehow been able to continue to produce.
Yeah, and that's something we saw all of last season with San Jose and Brady White. Here we go.
Oh, man.
Ouch.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Victor Rojas. That'll put him out for the duration of this game with an arm fracture. And so they're going to have to lean on, you know, McBrownski. They're going to have to lean on their other wideouts who have done so well. Sanders, who has got a touchdown as well, and Jackson. They've got the talent to do it.
Yeah. And they've certainly been doing it so far. I mean, almost haven't missed a beat. Maybe you think back, and maybe if Rojas is in, you see one or two close catches get caught rather than dropped. But even then, you know, these receivers are playing really well. Mike is spreading the ball out. Now that he is, I don't want to say stopped with the risky throws, because it still feels like they're just as risky, but they haven't gone to San Diego's favor is maybe a better way of phrasing it.
Well, Skamizniak, he's been able to target Queen Jackson, Victor Rojas, Ladham McBrownski, Dallas Sanders, and Tony Zoma. McBrownski leading in yardage right now, 41. Dallas Sanders second most with 95. But Skamizniak has done a really, really good job of spreading the football around, which is actually something that we talked about Dakota West being able to do so well also. Speaking of Dakota West, here is a carry. Hand off to Rex. Gain of 1 as Yoneda makes the tackle.
Yeah, over in Boston is when we really pointed that out, how sensational they were at spreading the love over there at the Harbor. And certainly bringing those looks over to San Diego, dealing everywhere right now in this receiving room. As well as
rolling out throw. Oh, what a great job of getting wide open and getting some separation, as that is Angel Maldonado with the 4th reception of the evening.
An angel in disguise with that great route and catch.
Yeah.
Separating the safety and defensive back, and really looked like he burned the cornerback of Philadelphia there. Was playing catch up, it seemed, and the safety just was not quick enough to be able to shoot down that fast.
The only thing that saved the touchdown there was that Maldonado had to kind of check up to catch the football, had to go up for it. Had that been in stride, I don't think they would have caught him. Now, coming back that is a brutal shove. You can't even call that a truck stick. That's just Kleinsaucer able to bulldoze his way for a hard-fought gain of 7. Let's put it that way.
I'm going to need the doc to come check up on me after that hit. Oh, my gosh.
Did you feel it in your shoulder?
My back, my shoulder, everywhere.
Some of those old war wounds as a player, right? Back to the ground they go with Rex, and that's going to bring up an interesting 3rd and 2 scenario here, where, as you said, the rushing attack hasn't been very, very successful for San Diego up to this point. So what do you do here? Do you try to ground and pound?
Well, it looks like they might. But if it were me, Cam, I'd try and go back to one of those out routes we saw like on the touchdown previously. But if they're going to put faith in their backs, let's see it.
No, they do. They put it in Caleb Rex. He gets the 1st.
Yeah, they do. A hard hit by J.C. Wallace shortly after he gains the 1st down. Now, these linebackers for Philadelphia right now carrying the load, 10 tackles between the 2 starting linebackers for them. Nick Fargo with the majority of them having 7, but they're really bolstering up and helping stop these short passes and the run game, which those short passes are really where San Diego's making their money, you should say.
Talking about San Diego's rushing attack between the 2 halfbacks, Rex and Powers, just 30 yards between them. Now, out of the backfield, as you see a screen pass to Powers, who gets upfield for 6. I actually think that was a pretty good decision there of West to check that down and go with the safe throw.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about how some of these flat routes from West and the Aces seem almost designed, and I still continue to believe that as they continue to get positive yardage after the catch.
Now 2nd and 4, a good drive going right here as Rex able to get close drives. Yeah, they're going to say forward progress, gets 1st and goal just past the 10-yard line.
They ran into a wall. Wallace Jr. on the outside, breaking off of his block to meet the back right around the edge, and looked almost like a generous call, but we talked about how that line from our angle isn't the best.
Now rolling out, West throwing the lefty to the back of the end zone, and it's just covered so nicely. Good job of getting the hand up and deflecting it. Drew Drizzy with his first big play of the evening.
Yeah, haven't got the chance to call his name as much, but that time was a huge one, stopping the touchdown, saving what would have been one if he wasn't there.
Second to go, 6:33 remaining in this 3rd quarter. Look at this run by Rex. And that's something about a guy like Caleb Rex who, we're just really getting introduced to him, to be honest with you. But we're starting to learn that down here around the goal line, very, very good at getting the tough yards.
Certainly is, and it beckons the question as to why they haven't ran more in the red zone after that initial first stop. Maybe it kind of got in their heads a little bit, but this looks like the run they ran earlier, that outside run.
Making an adjustment to continue to pound the rock and talking about ground and pound. And they're going to say Powers is just short as Fargo come up at the very last minute, able to stand him up and keep him out of the end zone.
Yeah, and that's another
here.
I would too. The Aces, I would love to see them put it all out there, and They'll try and push it in, but they do what's probably the smart decision and kick it up. And maybe that's another play, like in previous games we've called, where you'll go back and question it later on. But that's another, one thing we just talked about right before that play was why, with how well he's running, tough yardage, Caleb Rex, why not give it to him on the goal line?
Yep.
Now, that's the second time they tried. He's gotten stopped by the linebackers of Philadelphia. They're tough over there. They are aggressive, and they can stop the run. We're seeing that in full right now.
Well, to play in Philadelphia, you got to be aggressive. I don't care if you're Phillies, Eagles, the Cougars. You have to be aggressive. It's just part of this nature. It's the Rocky Balboa nature, if you will. And I believe that they really have did a great job of bringing up these players to be physical. And you see there, the big stop. Josh Gant does get the field goal. That extends the lead to 27-21. It's now a 6-point lead. They have to score a touchdown here as Skamizniak throws towards the sidelines. A good job of McBrownski able to chase that one down and get a gain of 5. But yeah, it just makes you think with Rex, as well as they were able to push the pile. Not to dwell on it, DJ, but I'm like you, that close out, man, I'm lining up and I'm taking my chances. Yeah, because it's even working for Philadelphia now, and we haven't seen him go with too many short runs that aren't those passes to the flat, right? And I imagine we'll continue to see that as the game clock chews down. Fritz with the handoff going right side, close to the 40. They're going to spot him at the 39, and that brings up a 3rd and 4. I can already tell a pace in this game has changed coming out of the locker rooms. A quicker third quarter than what we've seen out of the first 2 quarters in this game so far. Completely agree with you there, Cam. One of those reasons being is the focus of San Diego using the ground game so frequently in that last series. We've got a 3rd and 4 for Philadelphia, who needs to stay on the field here. Skamizniak throwing. It's complete. And we talked about the big receivers coming up. And who's going to make the big play? Queen Jackson. She's able to reel it in that time. Put the crown on her with another wonderful catch. Just seems like she's so good at attacking the zone of San Diego. That's something we've mentioned plenty of times. Those corner routes especially are routes that really hurt it because you go over the top of the middle zone and just shallow enough from the deep zone that you kind of have a soft spot to where you're able to sit down and make a catch. And Skamizniak is doing a great job of targeting those spots right now. Yeah, keep an eye on McBrownski there at the bottom of your screen. Now the throw. It's short, but it's safe. And that's okay as Tony Zoma comes up with 4 solid yards there on 1st down. Yeah, you got to keep that going now. This is where I'd like to see a little bit more of those runs. There you can see his passing splits. My goodness. 290 on the right and middle side of the field alone. And we will see if they go back to the ground here. They've got Ricky Dudley, the tight end, in to help block, but they throw it. And falling backwards, but able to secure the catch. That's McBrownski once more. I hope we get a replay of that. I would love to see how he was able to just snag that one, and we will. And yeah, just falling away. I mean, you might look at that and think it's a little bit off the money with how McBrownski had to turn his body and catch it falling, but with where he would have had to throw it leading the ball in front of him, it would have been dangerous. Yeah. And so at 1st and 10 here, fake handoff, runs into pressure, but rolls out Skamizniak to McBrownski for the touchdown over the head of 2 San Diego defenders, but puts it where only McBrownski can do McBrownski things. Look at this throw. Another one of those throws where Mike Skamizniak puts it all out there on the line, trusts his receivers, and trusts himself, more importantly, to be able to give the ball the touch it needs to get over those defenders. And I gotta say, I'm loving Philadelphia's offense right now, continuing to trust Mike Skamizniak with the ball in his hands. Letting him make risky throws like that shows how much they trust him. And after those 2 early interceptions, Cam, he seemed almost perfect, dare I say. Yeah, I mean, he has really been able to clean up the mistakes that was being made early on in this game. And now Philadelphia, with Peach's extra point, has a 1-point lead. And again, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, the goal line stand that Philadelphia made there, forcing San Diego to take the field goal. You know, that puts them, keeps it a one-score game, and now Philadelphia goes back down the field and is on top. We'll see how San Diego can respond after the return by Maldonado.
Yeah, and I feel like they'll be able to respond just fine, you know, because we've talked about polar opposites a lot in this one. San Diego, that more calculated approach, they're going to pick a lot of time off the clock on their way down the field. You hope you're able to, of course, put a touchdown into the end zone as always, because if you only get 3, like we've seen multiple times now, they've been forced to kick twice. That'll leave a field goal opportunity for the Cougars if they want to take the lead in the future, if that does happen.
Caleb Rex again with the carry and stopped after a 1-yard gain. I think that is your biggest concern right now if you're San Diego, which is being able to keep that forward momentum and doing it on the ground. West to throw a dart. It is complete. Reeling it in as Money. And yeah, that says it all. A great play by Money. Needed to come up with a big reception there because there was the coverage in the area looking to pick it off.
Yeah, he was coming full steam ahead to try and get a play on that ball, making the hit right as about the ball got there. But Terry Money keeping his arms close to his chest, holding on to it well, and just another look at Dakota West finding those tight throws.
Yeah. I got to admire what they're doing with Rex, trying to get him more involved. And we know why, because the more that you have to sling the football, the more chances of a disaster. An interception, a pick six, a sack fumble. You know, I get it, and I have to respect that they're trying to just get something going.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there.
There's a toss play to Powers, who can't even get back to the line of scrimmage. That is swarmed out by Philadelphia, and this will force them into a 3rd and 9 passing situation.
Yeah, and this is a scenario where you look and you're like, okay, good. We forced them into 3rd and long. But Dakota West in this offense, they can convert that relatively easily.
Let's see what they can do. The lefty unloads towards the sidelines, and it's incomplete. And a nicely timed hit there after the football had arrived, making sure to, well, basically making sure that there was not an opportunity to snag that one. And it's 4th and 9 for San Diego. They'll have to pump for the first time in what seems like a good while.
Yeah, and that was Sammy Seatbelt who made the close hit and is able to jar the ball out and make sure the receiver didn't haul on to that one. In a good play for him, because now Philly's going to be able to try and, you know, you want to say chew some clock, but, you know, there's still a whole nother quarter to play. But, you know, maybe not score as quickly and explosively, if that's a word, as you have previously in these last drives. Get Jesse Fretz more involved. Young man doesn't even have 10 carries yet, and Smithers Witherson, the 4th, doesn't have 1.
Yeah, again, the ground attack for both of these teams have been pretty cold up to this point. And I think the score also reflects that with the type of passing, gunslinging mentality we've had, 28-27, heading into the final minute of this 3rd quarter. And there's Fritz, just as you mentioned.
Yeah, and, you know, you got to give him the ball a little bit more. Just to put it into comparison, San Diego has 20 attempts rushing the ball between their 2 backs. Fretz has 10. And he has more rushing yards than both of San Diego's backs combined.
My goodness. That is a great stat right there, DJ. Now we see trying to hand it off to, was that Witherson? I believe it was,
so.
With the carry. Yeah, second carry.
Looked like 33 maybe? No, I think it was. I'm unsure. It was a car crash after that handoff. Couldn't even tell.
It literally happened so quick, and it was 33. We can confirm. Now, there is Fritz with the hard-earned yardage there for the first down. That will probably be our last play of this 3rd frame.
Yeah, looking to be so unless they go for another quick run. You know, we've seen this set quite a bit, and it's nice because they're able to change up out of it quite a bit.
They just like to prove me wrong. Skamizniak throwing a final play and a flag. It looks like it was reeled in by McBrownski, and they may get him for interference.
Okay, I hope we see this one again. I'm so because it looked like he dove for the ball. I mean, the ball seemed like it was there.
Yep.
Unless it was on another receiver corner, but we won't. All we're going to see is some cheerleaders.
They got it on Andre Brown as you guys get a chance to take a look at the cheerleaders here in Philadelphia. 3 quarters in the books, and folks, this one is just as close as you can get. It is fourth quarter action. Get your fours up, folks. You're watching the SFL on the Virtual Football Network. Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgan and JW Hartshorn, and of course, also joining him in the booth for the stats this evening is Miss Ellie Diomes. Both of those folks doing a fantastic job as we see a play on first down here. And of course, we got to say thanks to Alex West at SFLm headquarters. Man, it's been a fun evening with this whole crew tonight. Absolutely. Had a good time of talking before the game and just enjoying time with everybody. Finally kicking off and enjoying this week 2 game. Somebody's got to go. Brownski talking about going, shedding a tackle across the 20 to the 10. He's going to do it again. Touchdown. Cougars extending their lead early in the 4th. Advance to go. Collect your 200, McBrownski, because you will. Well over 200 yards now as they make the catch in tight coverage. Shrug off the defender like it's nothing. And from there, it's all green and black and red once you finally reach that end zone. And that's a good corner on you. That's Andre Brown, who is a terrific defender. Tight coverage, and it's hard to shuffle off a tackle like that on a guy like that, but McBrownski filling in the shoes of the injured Victor Rojas well, 1 yard short of the 250 mark. You know something, DJ? Brown had a tough couple of snaps there. He was unfortunately lost, he lost on the battle there with McBrownski. But before that, he was the one who got penalized on the pass interference call. So a bad couple of series for Brown, unfortunately. And it pays off for Philadelphia as they extend their lead, 35. Now, this is important here, 35-27. This is an 8-point game. So if it gets down to it and San Diego is able to score, do you go for the 2 here? It's going to depend, of course, on time is remaining in the game. But with 9:23 remaining, you got to believe that there's a little bit of urgency starting to creep in here. I feel like there's definitely got to be. Completely agree with you there, Cam, especially with how explosive and physically demanding Philly's defense is. Oh, what a nice play and a good rebound. We may be feeling urgent, but Dakota West is feeling cool as a cucumber, delivering that one to Maldonado at midfield. Yeah, just another instance of staying calm, being precise, and attacking these weak spots in the defense. They're really attacking that linebacker there. Seems like they're throwing to his zone a lot. That's Golden, 58. Seems like we're seeing a lot of passes go over his head. They're kind of picking on him a little bit. 1st and 10, 8:50 and some change remaining now. West intercepted. Oh, my goodness. So the first big turnover for Dakota West, and it couldn't have come at a worse time as that was.
He hurt us. It was Golden.
Golden again. Yeah, you're right. I looked up to see.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I told you they're listening.
That was gorgeous.
Gosh.
Oh, my gosh. That was just terrific. On that replay, it was, initially on the first interception, it was hard to kind of see where he came from. But, because I was watching that route over the top. I don't know about you. But he's sitting on a curl route on the comeback, waiting for something to happen, waiting for the ball to come his way. He watches the eyes of the quarterback. He sees that, he's eyeing over his head a little bit, makes a play back to the ball, and catches a route that he's not even near. Oh, my goodness. Tried to pick on him one too many times. Shame on, do it once, shame on him. Twice, shame on you. And he didn't even let the twice happen. Now, I would like to speak to the PA announcer here at Philadelphia because I believe that he's popping our play-by-play into the stands, making us look like fools once again. Skamizniak gonna go down, and that's the big defensive play that you need late in this one. And he gets up flexing his muscles. And I don't blame him. Let's take a look at this. That is Rogers. Ouch.
Welcome to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, huh?
Yeah, no joke.
Goodness
One stat I
gracious.
did want to throw out there before Philly's offense gets off the field is 3 of the touchdowns we've seen from Skamizniaks have been 64 yards or more on the completion.
Wow.
64 yards, 78 yards, and 82-yard touchdowns. 2 of those coming from McBrownski.
Incredible. Now, pressure coming around the edge.
Here we go.
And Skamizniak throwing on third down. Tip!
Oh!
The hands! Oh, it was right there for the taking for Ness Ginkle. And it's 4th and 11. He's going to beat himself up for that one.
Yeah, I mean, you just let that one slip through your fingertips. You can't let that happen. Oh, my. You even saw it halfway through the play. If we could have seen a replay on it, they were holding their head as it was falling to the ground.
Oh, so able to punt it away there. And good job of San Diego able to come up with the stop defensively. And now, thankfully for them, the interception by Dakota West is, I guess you'd say, not null and void, but at least it didn't have the effect they were afraid of. Let's put it that way. And so with 7:31, they'll hit the reset button here and go to work on the 31-yard line.
Yeah, and you want to see a little bit more explosiveness now from San Diego. Take a play out of Philly's book and throw it deep down the field.
West to throw, tip, bobbled. Oh, that was scary for a minute. And this kind of goes back to what we were saying, DJ. They are now in a position to where they're going to have to just sling it around. And that in itself produces some worrisome situations, such as those interceptions.
Yeah, certainly risky, but, it's not like they haven't been doing it the whole game. But now you got to do it with a little bit more urgency as the time is ticking.
Oh, it's a leaping interception, 2 straight coming for this Philadelphia team, and this time maybe the most acrobatic and agile one of the entire season.
Oh, Cam, we got to see this again. I'm in awe.
Look at Barber, Superman.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding?
What a play by Barber. Listen, they say that Superman lives in Metropolis, but I'm beginning to think he's here in Philadelphia.
I'm in shock. That I've called plenty of games. That was the greatest play I have ever seen. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, everyone. I'm just at a loss.
That was incredible. Well, I'm telling you, a great play like that's highlight reel material. If we had a SFLm this week, folks, that would be your #1 top play. That is incredible as Fritz gets the carry, 6-yard gain. I'm still speechless.
We might just have to have one for that play alone.
I think so.
Oh my goodness!
Clip that and put that on a Facebook reel or something. That was
someone get that, please.
I'd love to have seen that in slow motion too. It's just like he just
put the Superman song over it.
Yeah, for real.
Oh man!
For truth, justice, and the American way.
33 is Witherson. Okay.
Yep.
So he is getting some touches now. 3 now as they're starting to chew the clock a little bit more. And gotta shrug that off, wipe that off our shoulders, that amazing, sensational play that we just witnessed. If you haven't hit the like button after that, I don't know what to say.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta hit that like button. Share. Look at Fritz now with easily his best run of the day. Just one man away from taking that one off. Another first down.
Yeah, I mean, great blocking. You can see 70 getting out there and laying out a block for them. If I'm not mistaken, that's Duke LaRue. Went out there making a great block for Fritz, splitting that defense down the middle.
Could have drove a semi through that.
You could have, certainly.
1st and 10 coming up here for Philadelphia. The clock beginning to run. Now you see them starting to get very aware of the time remaining in this game. They go back to the ground, trying to use the play clock as much as they can. 2nd and 9 after a gain of 1 here.
Yeah, and I feel like you got to keep running the ball or forget that. Oh.
At the shoes there of the intended target, Queen Jackson. That does stop the clock, and it's 3rd and 9.
Now, in most instances, you try and run it out, chew clock, and then once it gets close to, 3rd and down, 3rd and however long, for example, that's when you try and throw it. But Philly's like, you know what? I mean, we're going to have to throw either way, probably, so might as well make it now.
Skamizniak throwing, stepping up, gets into pressure, but somehow, that was almost a touchdown. I thought that maybe McBrownski had that one.
Oh, so let's see.
Yeah, let's see what happens here.
Yeah, it looks like Eaton Moss might have got a hand on it.
Maybe. To me, honestly, it looked like McBrownski kind of just had that one bounce right off his hands, and then Moss was able to swat it away there.
Yeah, with how dominant McBrownski has been so far, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Absolutely. Here's a field goal attempt by Sophia Peaches. And that's a big play because that now makes it a 38-27 game. 11 points here late in this one. I don't think we need to undersell how important this kick really was right here. That's a beauty, too.
Yeah, certainly was. Philly's offense really, really showing up in this one. 4 yards short of a 500-yard performance is this offense from Philly. If you would have told me that after those 2 early interceptions, I would have laughed in your face. But they have certainly changed the rhetoric around. They're looking as explosive as ever in both facets of their game.
Incredible how they were able to tighten things up after the early interceptions as Tyler Carney is able to run this one back. And again, let's give a shout out to Stats Truck here, J.W. Hartshorn and Ellie Diomes for all these great stats they've been passing along our way, making us sound good, okay? Now, listen, we can't sound this good on our own. I mean,
I'll speak for myself here. They're making me sound smart up here, Cam.
I'm telling you what. Well, I mean, you hear some of the classic things I've unfortunately been saying early on in this game. Don't go back and check it out, folks, okay? Just catch the highlights. 2nd and 10 coming up now for San Diego. Again, now down 11 points, and now they, interestingly, decided to give it a chance on the ground.
You say that as if those won't be the highlights, Cam, but nonetheless, San Diego going to have to continue with a little bit of urgency on this drive. Let's see a fire lit under him.
West now throwing, again into double coverage. And it really is feeling like desperation here for San Diego with 4:48 in this game. It's an uphill battle. It's not over by any means, but they need to get a little more comfortable here. You're starting to feel the anxiousness creep in. The passes aren't as crisp. We got a big play here, DJ.
We do. It feels like this is the most important play of the game, except for a few of those 4th down previously. Let's see what Dakota West and the Aces will do.
3rd and 10. West standing in. Good blocking. Throwing to the flat. It's tipped by Philadelphia, and it's incomplete. I believe that was Sammy Seatbelt who was there. Yeah, another good play. Another good play.
After that, misplay early on in coverage, he certainly bounced back. Now, Dakota West, these San Diego Aces got to push all their chips in the middle. They've got to go all in here against this dime package coming from Philly.
And you hear this defense, play action, rolling, and obliterated, ladies and gentlemen, putting West right in the ground. Take us home with this analysis here, DJ, on this one by Yoneda.
I mean, just slipping through.
Gosh.
It's like the offensive line didn't even have a chance. That was 5-on-5. Looked like they brought Golden in on the blitz as well, and it was just too much pressure for the offensive line to handle. And Cam, I feel like we got to hear one more of the signatures obliterated for that one.
Obliterated. An incredible play on the defensive front there by Philadelphia. You're now over the 500-yard mark with that run. That puts you right at 500 yards for total yards. Incredible stats right there, folks. And then when it mattered most, their defense this second half has been able to lock down. And, we talked about the offense for San Diego. We talked about the score, how it looked like, 20-some points for San Diego in the first half. They have been relegated to very little success this 3rd and 4th quarter. Now, Philadelphia trying to just put the finishing touches on what's been a masterful game as Witherspoon the 4th gets a carry.
You know, one thing, Cam, I do look back at is the conversation we had at half, what both of these squads need to fix up. Clearly, Philadelphia specifically with what they've been able to produce. We talked about how we need to see less turnovers from Mike Skimizniak. Haven't seen one the entirety of the half from him. We want to see them get the run game a lot more involved. Their run game is chewing this clock out like a beaver on a tree right now, just chomping it away. And the defense needed to step up and stop the pass game of San Diego, and they just stopped them on 4 straight plays. They have been lights out, Philadelphia, on all facets of the game, especially in the second half.
And there's Fresh once more, making men miss, and most importantly, staying in bounds, getting positive yards, and the clock continuing to run. But you're exactly right. This, if you watch the SFL and the SFLm, folks, these teams that are so successful, yeah, they can throw the football, but also they have a running attack that can chew up yardage and clock time, and that is so important in these games. When you get down to that fourth quarter and there's 7-ish minutes, you can take a drive, a 5-minute drive, and get it down to, you know, a little over 2 minutes remaining with a good ground attack, and you're seeing it here.
I mean, you think back to that first half whenever, you know, we didn't even see San Diego's offense until well early on. Philadelphia had the ball, I mean, for a majority of that drive, maybe 4 minutes on their 3-4 minutes on their first drive before throwing the pick, the immediate score from San Diego, and then Philly held it for another 3-4 minutes. And it wasn't even until 2 minutes in the first quarter that we saw San Diego's offense.
And now, you're right. I mean, I pretty much made the joke that it was second quarter before Dakota West was able to get out on the field. 3rd and inches remaining. Here's we're approaching 2-minute warning, 1 down, and that really will do it. We'll see how aggressive they want to be. Play clock down to 1. They keep it on the ground with Fretz, who does get the first. That does bring us to the 2-minute warning, and that will pretty much seal the deal here for Philadelphia to get their first victory of the season. 2 minutes remaining. Cameron Duty, DJ Kilgannon here in the booth having the time of our lives. You're watching the SFLm on the Virtual Football Network. And folks, we got good news for you. There's 2 more football games to come after this that you're not going to want to miss. So don't change that channel. You're going to love, in my opinion, the most exciting season of SFLm action we have had yet. And we're just getting started. And look at Jesse Fretz pushing, and then finally gets pushed into the end zone for the touchdown, and that's hard earned by.
Yeah, certainly is Jesse Fretz finally getting himself into the end zone, Cam. If I'm not mistaken, that is his first ever as an SFLm player. Played some last season, had right at around 200 yards, but I don't think he reached the end zone. Also didn't get there last week, so you know, I could be wrong. I have been before. I will be again, but I think that's the Fretz Prince's first of his career.
Absolutely, and what a great job. I do believe you're exactly right on that, as the extra point by Peaches is good with 1:55 remaining in this ball game. The score is not going to be a good indication of just how close this game was.
Yeah, certainly not. Just complete second half domination. You look at the first half, could have been anyone's game. In fact, it was only slightly leaning into Philly's corner, I think we mentioned. And, you know, back to a comment you made prior to that touchdown, was one of the most exciting seasons of SFLm we've ever had. And I think all you got to do is top last season, because it was just lighting it up, right? And I think the only way you can top last season is by adding more teams. And we did. 2 more teams added into the fold. 3, technically, with Boston's folding, adding 3 teams, 3 new teams to the fold in Birmingham, San Diego, and Anchorage. It's only going to get up from here.
And, you know, you got to love that, you know, the SFLm is thriving, adding players, developmental players to these rosters. Enough to, as you said, be able to add these teams. And we'll go over the lineup in just what is expect San Diego here to try to get some yardage and some points. A good job right there, one-handed grab. I believe that was Maldonado as a timeout is called. But, folks, stick around because at 10 o'clock Eastern tonight, we've got Birmingham and San Jose, a battle of 1-0 teams. Mark Lopez and John Campbell will be on the call. That's going to be great. And you think you done there? Oh, no. Get you a Red Bull or something, a Mountain Dew. Stay awake for the midnight hour here. 12 a.m. Eastern. It's Anchorage and New York. Brandon Walters and Jesse Fretz on the call. So that's going to be fantastic. Don't go anywhere. I love SFLm late night. It's just the most fun time in the middle of your week if it comes early.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're sitting there on a boring old Tuesday or a Wednesday or Thursday. You could be watching some other football. The VFN has plenty of content for you, but you're here watching these young stars develop and really get in their shining spots out here.
Well, I think that sometimes, and there's incredible competition all across the board. So many great leagues. You've got the UFL, the SFL, the SFLm. I think that sometimes some of the most exciting football takes place with these youngsters learning to develop. I think it makes for sometimes unpredictable games. And, some unpredictable moments, as we have seen many of them in this game alone. So 2nd and 10 here with 1:34 remaining. West back to throw, a little too high. It's incomplete. The clock stops with 1:30 remaining in this one, and it's 3rd and 10.
Drew Drizzy on the coverage there. Both of these teams fighting till their last breath. Philly has lungs full of air right now. San Diego only barely holding on, only 1:30 until they are just about out of gas. And Philly will escape with a win as they churned it out in the second half.
Yeah, Fritchley there, who has went silent. We heard a lot out of the early in this game. Unfortunately, they've been able to find a way to keep him quiet this second half until that play right there.
Yeah, and to the credit of Sammy Seatbelt, because it seems like on a lot of those plays where Fritchley is targeted, it's Sammy who's the one in coverage. Seems like a one-on-one matchup between the two, and after that one touchdown, Seatbelt has really held his own in that battle.
He's really strapped in after that.
Oh, yeah, he is.
West to throw to the middle of the field. That's a 1st and goal. Timeout called for. But seriously, let's talk about this is a good improvement for San Diego. Last week they lost 31-0 to Birmingham. Yep. They come back, they put up 27 points. Look like a totally different team. Coming out of the gate here. This is a young group, but improvements are going to take time, but this is a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah, certainly. And, you go from Dakota West having no touchdowns and 4 interceptions to 2-2 splits. And, almost 2-3. That was scary. Sammy Seatbelt almost fastened in and went 60 miles per hour the other way. But drops that one. Yeah, that was a layup. Come on.
Love it. Too easy. Second and
low-hanging fruit, if you will.
Well, I love it. You got to take advantage of it.
It's the ripest you can find.
Oh, there you go. 2nd and goal coming up here. Shotgun formation for Dakota West. And they keep grinding. They keep playing. They haven't put their heads down. We need to make sure that is acknowledged here. Play clock down to 3. All-out blitz, but throws in the back of the end zone, and he's got his man. But he had to hurry the throw. I thought they were going to bury him in the ground. Somehow, West able to get that one off. Look at this.
Yeah. Wide open in the back of the end zone. Goosebusters with only a catch on 6 targets. Has not been able to connect on 5 of those 6 passes. And the one catch only for 4 yards, although he did score. It was a touchdown play. Would have had his 2nd catch for 2nd touchdown if he was able to hold on to that one.
3rd and goal. Are they going to bring the house again? They do. It's picked up better. The throw touchdown to the corner of the pylon. And it's Maldonado still fighting. Is this San Diego Aces team?
Yeah, and that catch putting Angel just over the century mark with 7 receptions And Cam, I got to pat us on the back a little bit because multiple times in these goal line stands, we've talked about how maybe they should try that out route again. They did,
Yes, we did.
and they scored.
See, I mean, every a squirrel finds an acorn every now and then, and
That's
we
right.
have just been able to get it right twice. I think that's a record for us, DJ.
Yeah, we found a pretty full nut tree, if you will.
but it is true. Those out routes have worked great all evening for San Diego, and of course you'll see them go for the onside kick. 1:10 to go. And that is going to draw a flag. That didn't go nearly far enough to recover it.
So we'll see it again.
We'll get a redo here. Listen, how do you feel about the fact that I'm going to have to take you to the airport and get you on a red-eye flight to the next game? I mean, are you going to know what to do with yourself this evening?
I don't think so. It's weird, not watching the game from the booth, especially with SFLm action.
Oh, and that's contested. Philadelphia will fall on it, and that's the game. Well, I feel like you're going to not know what to do with yourself there. You used to be on 2 different time zones, in one day. Over in, San Diego one day, and then over in New York later on that evening. But
you'll actually have to go interact with people that aren't in a broadcast booth or through a microphone. It's kind of weird.
Out of our comfort zone.
If you will. No, I'm not too worried about that. We were in Boston plenty. I was out of my comfort zone. But
oh, well, yeah, my friend, as a friend, you kind of put yourself in a corner on that. They just put up the statue of Tom Brady, and they, you've seen they did. They had that Brady statue put up there in Boston. Well, they actually they put you on a wanted sign. So
Oh gosh, did Frank Doom put that up?
Yeah. How did you know?
Yeah, I thought so. See,
you knew the perpetrator.
I knew him saying, he was just here for a friend last week. Was all a ploy to get more info.
You knew he was on to something, that Frank Doom. 25 seconds in remaining, folks. I want JW Hartshorn and Ellie Diomez have just been fantastic in the stats truck today. Thank you guys. Thanks to Alex West back at headquarters for, of course, helping make this all possible. And thank you guys for checking in and spending your Tuesday evening with us. We literally have had a blast, as we always do. A great game to both these teams. Hard-fought game, but in the end, it is the Philadelphia Cougars who get victory number 1 on the season. The offense was stunning. 45-34. Final thoughts and a game ball or two here, DJ.
Yeah, I mean, it just looked like a completely different Cougars squad, from the first half to second. You talk about those halftime adjustments, and they were certainly made for Philadelphia, right? Head coach Tom Rahman certainly gave his team a little hype-up talk at half. When you look at the stats, well over 500 all-purpose yards for this Philly offense. And as far as the game ball goes, I would lean towards Mike Skamizniak if he took off those 2 interceptions, of course, which, looking back at it, kept San Diego in the game.
It did.
With that being said, I got to give it to LaDan McBrownski. 240 through the air, 3 touchdowns with the hat trick. Sensational.
Folks, stay tuned for 2 more games tonight right here on this Virtual Football Network. You're not going to want to miss it. Again, for my buddy, DJ Kilgannon, I'm Cameron Duty. Have a good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time right here for more SFLm action on the Virtual Football Network. Good night, everyone.